Yeah, everything would have to align, unfortunately. Regardless, we are going to be kicking off this series on Romanticide LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the red Protoss player coming out from the land of Germany. He is going to be representing himself. He is GunGFuBanDa.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the German Protoss player. He is blue, representing Berserker Esports. It is ForJumy.
And I'm not sure if you knew this, Light, but GunGFuBanDa, that's also a movie. Or Kung Fu Panda.
It is a movie.
So it's not just Hellraiser, apparently.
There you go, mate. There you go. Did you know that ForJumy is also a movie, mate?
What?
Maybe, somewhere.
Potentially.
Oh, God. But what I did want to say about our player here, ForJumy, of course, just like BattleB, it is his first time here in DreamHack. Unlike BattleB, though, he has yet to take a single series in this tournament. And, mate, he doesn't want to pull a little bow, right? He wants
Nobody does.
He doesn't want to go into that 0-5 territory. Oh boy. So we'll see if maybe he can pull something off here in a PvP.
And he's looking to whiff this proxy pylon. May just be a scouter pylon as the probe isn't sticking around. But on the flip side, GunGFuBanDa is just trying to be as annoying as possible.
Yeah, exactly. As GunGFuBanDa, he has both of his pylons in his main base. Meanwhile, only one in the base of ForJumy. So again, he's faking out that there is a proxy somewhere. And because it's Romanticide, it's pretty large. It could be anywhere, hoping that GunGFuBanDa goes into a little bit of panic mode and maybe just searches around the map looking for it, wasting some resources.
Yeah, GunGFuBanDa hasn't quite scouted around the potential proxy areas. Now, do you think this is because he just wants to play as safe as possible, or do you think he's calling his bluff?
We'll see. I mean, this probe here is scouting around, and oh my god, he's gonna find it.
Oh, it's
Oh
yep.
my god, just immediately.
No major overreactions coming out from GunGFuBanDa, which means we're getting into a standard game.
We are getting into a standard game here. GunGFuBanDa is playing this out safe, but so is ForJumy. Both of them going for their sentries, going for those scouts.
Yeah, both players just trying to keep on top of things, top of one another.
That they are. So this is unlike the previous PvP that we had between Showtime, where we got to see one of the players being like hyper aggressive and the other being a lot more safe and secure. Showtime and Mana, that being. But yeah, instead, so far our players are mirroring each other.
We'll see who decides to pull the trigger first. If we're going to use Showtime Mana as an example, or as a point of reference.
Yeah, exactly, as we do have ForJumy going for that Twilight Council a little bit faster compared to GunGFuBanDa, but not too much. It's not the biggest of deals.
Yeah, the amount of time that GunGFuBanDa's Twilight Council was delayed is shorter than the amount of time it would take for him to go from one end of the map to the other, so
Yeah.
not a very big deal.
Exactly. As we both see both players going for their forges, we see, of course, the Twilight Council. We should be seeing +1 Blink Stalker. ForJumy was unable to scout, though actually he did see the forge, so I mean, he knows what he's up against. It's all good.
You can pretty much make an assumption from there.
That you can, and now things are gonna slow down a little bit. We're gonna be looking at to see who takes their third base. If anyone decides to ramp up, get additional gateways, and throw down a robot for a warp prism. Looks like for now, GunGFuBanDa, it's not looking to be the case as he's setting himself up for a third.
Yeah, gonna be playing this out a little bit more passively. So will ForJumy. I'm waiting for a divergence, and is this gonna be it? GunGFuBanDa going for the robo facility?
Yeah, I mean, we always romanticize, so it's like we want to see something crazy, and if there's no proxy, I guess there won't be anything crazy. ForJumy is applying a little bit of pressure here, being very cheeky with his hallucinations. I love it. Looking to have more stalkers than he really does, but we'll see if GunGFuBanDa falls for that. Oh, really respecting the army of ForJumy.
Indeed, he is. Again, no big commitments just yet.
Yeah.
This is the best part of PvP, in my opinion. It's the calm before the storm.
Yeah, hopefully
Right?
there's
You know
a
how
storm.
chaotic. Well, okay, well. We know how chaotic things can get, so we gotta appreciate the peace while it lasts.
Yeah, and it also does lean towards the map choice as well. There are other maps that do lean more heavily towards aggression, and things like proxy stargates and stuff like that. Unfortunately, this doesn't seem to be that kind of matchup. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But this also means that things are still up in the air. Like, for now, ForJumy is doing a really good job at keeping up with GunGFuBanDa, and that's pretty impressive in and of itself. You know, GunGFuBanDa has been a pro player for a very long time. ForJumy, a lot more newer to the scene, a much more younger player, and so far, yeah, he is holding his own.
He is, but maybe he can go a little bit further than that once this Robo Bay finishes up.
Yeah, this is interesting. You know, everything up until now was pretty kind of mellow and bland. But now ForJumy, he is taking a risk and going straight into disruptors. Meanwhile, GunGFuBanDa throws down 4 more gateways, is working on that War Prism, and now it is going to be his time to go across the map.
He is going to have charge quite a bit faster. He's going to have +2 much faster than ForJumy. RoboBay just finished. We're actually going to see Colossus! Skillous' legacy, man. His influence grows wider by day after day.
Oh no. Someone needs to stop Skillous. Stop. What is going on? What have you done to the European Protoss players, to the youth of Europe? Oh my god.
He enlightened them is what he did.
Yeah, this is crazy. So he's going for a Colossus first, and he's going for a second Robo for double Colossus production. I imagine he's only going to be getting like 2 Colossus max, and then transitioning into Disruptors. If it was Skillous, he would just be going mass Colossus.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see as he techs into Thermal Lance as well. He's going to get at least more than 2. Maybe not more than 4, though.
I don't know what to
We're both just bargaining.
Yeah, I mean, 2 to begin with. We'll see if a third is started here at the second Robo. Oh boy. I mean, so there is a place for Colossus, obviously. Like, there's a reason why. Oh my god, as we have 3 War Prisms out.
War Prisms, wow. He's faking a multi-prong.
He is a tri-prong main. But there is a place for them. They do provide consistent splash damage, sure, but they do get outscaled relatively quickly.
They do. They also have a really long range, so you can kind of consider them to be the Protoss siege unit in this matchup, at least before Tempest get out. But yeah, as you were saying, they just don't have much of a place as the game goes on.
Yeah, that they don't. At the moment they do though, so we do have a bigger commitment to the Colossus, by the way. There's 2 more being made. And I don't know how I like this. So the War Prism was able to slip in, the fake one, and did scout the Colossus. And as a response, GunGFuBanDa is going into Stargates.
May as well, honestly.
Oh,
Colossus can't shoot up.
They cannot shoot up, and personally, Phoenixes, I was gonna say throw down the fleet beacon and get some Tempest out, but okay, interesting
choice to say the least. Yeah, Phoenixes don't do too much damage against Colossus, and there's not too much crowd control in this army. Maybe the sentries. Maybe?
Maybe. We'll see how the Phoenixes do here. I have to wonder if GunGFuBanDa only saw the Robos and didn't see the Colossus. That's what I'm wondering. Because Phoenixes are great against Disruptors. Yeah, like, they're amazing against Disruptors. Not so much against Colossus, as we do see the army of ForJumy head towards the third base. At the same time, a massive warp in into the third of ForJumy.
Finally! The hallucinated War Prisms pay off. ForJumy thought that was just a Luke, potentially. I don't know.
Potentially. Meanwhile, in comes the main army of ForJumy. He lost 16 workers. He is down heavily when it comes to that worker count. What about the army?
The army of ForJumy does get sandwiched. The Colossus are trying to break through. These Immortals haven't quite been able to get on top of the Colossus. The Chargents are on top of the rest of the army, though. bit of a drop of chargelets into the heart of that army. The War Prism goes down, but everything else from ForJumy has gone down.
I am so impressed as we have a juicy disruptor shot going off, but in comes the Phoenix to pick it up, mate. He knew.
He was... See, here's the problem for GunGFuBanDa. He was getting visions of what was going to happen 10 minutes in the future.
Yeah, and it happened,
and he just acted accordingly, exactly.
Oh my god, that was a beautiful engagement, by the way. I was really concerned for GunGFuBanDa, but again, the surround, not just that, but the flanking War Prism that was able to drop a couple more Zealots and Stalkers on top of the army. We saw GunGFuBanDa just chase everything down.
I don't want to look at the units lost tab. I don't want to look at the army value graph after this game light, because my god, that was a victory for GunGFuBanDa. And he doesn't want to throw it either. He doesn't want to overextend with a big counterattack. He would much rather let ForJumy move into him and continue to trade unfavorably, which is exactly what he's doing.
Like, the problem is that, like, one, he kept his Phoenixes alive. So, sure, we have one disruptor, but, mate, it's one disruptor. GG gets called. That's just it, mate.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall. There was a possibility that ForJumy could have kept that game going, maybe, but it really was a very slim chance. GunGFuBanDa, after that simple engagement, had complete control.
I mean, it's important to bear in mind that ForJumy didn't just lose his army in that attack. If you remember, there was also that run by at his third base that just killed the entire mineral line. Like, his economy was crippled, and his army was crippled. Like, he had nothing going his way. Meanwhile, GunGFuBanDa, at the end there, he still had 4 Immortals. Like, his high-tech units was still perfectly fine, on top of the advantage he had in army supply. Like, that was...
That was clean.
that was insane.
I made a mistake, like, of looking at the army value graph.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
Sharp decline.
Yeah, it was not pretty at all. And again, there's a reason why Colossus aren't the norm. They seem to be a little bit more of the norm in Europe, amongst a select number of players. But there's...
Skillus is chosen.
Yeah.
It's what I'm gonna call them from now on.
Oh, no. Like, again, like, they do have, like, I guess their niche place where they can be utilized. Again, you know, Skillus, he is still one of the best players in Europe, and he finds success with them. That's why he uses them, but we also saw why a player like GunGFuBanDa doesn't need them.
Pretty much. As we continue the series on 2000 Atmospheres LE, in the bottom left-hand corner map, spotting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Germany. He is going to be representing Berserker Esports. He is ForJumy.
And spawning in the top right hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the German Protoss player representing himself. It is GunGFuBanDa.
Immediately after you mentioned how Colossus can have a very niche role in PvP, I start thinking up specific scenarios. Maybe if your opponent is super committed to Charged Archon.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah? Like, that will be... It's a nice way to try and counter that. And, I mean, that's why ForJumy went for that push. He knew that his opponent was going for Charged Archon. He just wasn't expecting the surround, wasn't expecting the flanking War Prism. Like, GunGFuBanDa did just completely outposition it.
What I want to know more than anything is, did the boy who cried wolf kind of come into effect here? GunGFuBanDa, who looked all those Warp Prisms early on, faked the harass, did ForJumy for a second, just sort of think, yeah, that's probably not a real Warp Prism. I doubt it.
I have to wonder. Meanwhile, ForJumy being very sneaky with this pylon.
Yeah, this is not going to be a simple scouting pylon, a simple fake-out pylon either. He's keeping that probe in position.
That he is. I have to imagine it's going to be an additional gateway, but we'll see what ForJumy has in store for us with all this gas. Could go for a proxy robo in the center of the map. Oh, it's a Stargate.
Ooh. Well, versus Stargate that's at home.
It is.
Huh.
Interesting, interesting. So we'll see how committed ForJumy is with this. Like, obviously, we could see it is kind of far away, but we could see Void Rays, we could see a pylon and shield batteries thrown down. No, there's no way. There's no way.
No, yeah.
I like typically you see that
not.
on Oxide, not necessarily here.
Yeah, it's just not really a great map to get those shield batteries on. There's no ramp. It's a little bit easier for the defending player to move onto the open area, right? It's not like they're forgoing a big defensive position. Like, sure, it's a choke point, but it's not quite the choke point on a ramp that you get on a map like Blackburn or Oxide.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, and we'll see what ForJumy can get done here, as GunGFuBanDa hasn't scouted anything yet. I mean, he's aware that a pylon is missing, and he's searching desperately for it around the edges of the map, but he has yet to find it because the proxy isn't in the edge of the map, it's in the center.
Really impressive. He was able to keep those adepts alive, I gotta be honest. Like, sure, they're about to die. I mean, he doesn't really have a lot of anti-air, but still, these should be dead already.
Yeah, that they should, but they are not. Meanwhile, we already have a shield battery in the main. Oh my god, the stasis gets cancelled?
Because these adepts stayed alive, they were able to cancel the stasis. What a big brain from GunGFuBanDa.
So despite the proxy being unscattered, unfortunately the first Oracle doesn't really achieve much at all. Meanwhile, we did have a stasis here in the main of ForJumy, but not too much damage. Only 3 probes were stasis.
Look, it's more than getting the stasis cancelled. I can tell you that.
I guess so. You're not wrong.
Not a great start for ForJumy, but not a terrible one either. Despite his proxy not getting too much damage, not getting any damage really, he can still be annoying with his oracles. He can still, you know, use them later on the line for some scouting, for some utility.
He could try. The downside is that GunGFuBanDa is investing into Phoenixes, and Phoenixes do hard counter these Oracles. He's going to be looking to chase them down. We do have a couple of Adepts out here for ForJumy that actually avoid the stasis, funnily enough, but they shouldn't deal too much damage here. As only a single one gets into the main, and only a single one does nothing against the shield battery.
Yeah, 2 is very much a magic number when it comes to Protoss harass units. 2 Oracles, 2 Adepts. The Phoenixes are already in position to deal with these Oracles. Good target firing for ForJumy, but he's only getting 4 probes at the cost of 2 Oracles.
Oh, God.
Giving up detection, giving up scouting information, giving up stasis wards for the rest of the game. I don't really think it was worth it. Neither does ForJumy. He's getting a little bit desperate. When behind, throwing down that Dark Shrine.
Exactly, and we'll see if that's going to be enough here, as GunGFuBanDa is just racing across the map with whatever he has, his Phoenixes, Stalkers, and Adepts. What do we oh my god, we didn't even have a shield battery at the natural!
We really don't. Thankfully, it's mostly Phoenixes, you know, they can't really do much against buildings. But I just glanced at the army supply light. To say that GunGFuBanDa is ahead is a bit of an understatement.
That's what I was concerned about. Like, where's the stack defense here to help support ForJumy? It's just non-existent, and because of that, GunGFuBanDa will be able to dominate this fight just because of those Phoenixes being able to CC as many Stalkers as he wants.
Just like so.
Oh my god, as Stalker after Stalker gets picked up, the boys are being pulled again. ForJumy's in a desperate situation. Oh my god, the Dark Shrine was even scouted earlier, so GunGFuBanDa is getting ready for that as well.
Indeed, he is. GunGFuBanDa just dominating this battle. 9 more probes have gone down, by the way. ForJumy surprisingly not that far behind when it comes to the worker count, but it's still looking very rough for him.
That it is. Here we go. The first DT is warped in. I have to wonder if GunGFuBanDa managed to click on the morphing in building, because he did notice that Dark Shrine, but it looks like it hasn't quite registered yet. We don't have any cannons. We don't have any detection. We do have an Oracle though, but it is across the map.
It's across the map with very little energy as well. Shield battery is finished up, but yeah, not a cannon out. Robo Facility is making Immortals instead of Observers. This DT could bring ForJumy back in the game.
It really could, as it does slip into the main base. Again, we're going to have to see a recall, but the Oracle just utilized its energy across the map. So DT is getting some damage done.
Nicely done. Going to be, best case scenario, equalizing the worker count at least.
Yeah, second DT comes in. Yo, like, this is going to be dealing a lot of damage. Like, where's the Observer? Where's the Oracle? Where's any detection?
An Immortal!
Like, cancel it, buddy. You know, it's not worth it. It's not worth delaying your detection like this.
Well, maybe he just wants to go for a big counterattack after this, potentially.
Yeah.
Server is coming out now. The Oracle was recalled back home. The DT, unfortunately, will not find any more damage. GunGFuBanDa is now finally behind on the worker count.
Yeah.
But still very far ahead when it comes to the army. It is an army of Immortals, too.
That he is, but I think ForJumy did a very good job at coming back here. Like, he is far ahead when it comes to the workers. He's got his third base up and running, so he will be able to maintain his lead. And GunGFuBanDa isn't going for a 2-base all-in. He's expanding, and he's taking his third.
Huh. Kind of surprised at that. Not really pressing the advantage, but I guess he, like most other players, are unwilling to underestimate the power of a shield battery. He just wants to make sure he has a really strong army before going for his push.
I guess so. But the longer he waits, the better this is for ForJumy, as he has, again, done a very good job at coming back. He's able to snipe a couple of these Phoenixes. Do see a recall.
Yeah, going to be able to save most of those Stalkers. And he's going to need them pretty soon.
Oh my god. 6 more probes go down.
Yeah, this one cannon, unfortunately, wasn't quite able to cut it. ForJumy was target firing.
Now we've reached a point where, again, ForJumy, he's still a little bit down when it comes to the overall supply, but I mean, he still makes up for that in dividends when it comes to the rest of his army. His gateways are done, they are finishing up. The one thing that he's lacking is a war prism, but mate, he's got a reinforcing pylon, he's got a proxy pylon, he's fine, mate.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little surprised that ForJumy wants to play this out as aggressively like this. I feel like it's totally fine for him to stay back at home and maintain that economic advantage, but just like that,
mate,
he's kind of throwing away this battle. Half his army is out of commission.
Exactly, like, this is what GunGFuBanDa needed. Just like that, half his army is stasis. ForJumy is going to be forced to fight.
And I do not like his chances at all, even without any static defense. Look at how many Immortals GunGFuBanDa has against a predominantly Stalker-focused army. Look at how many charges are being picked up, unable to really get on top of the army of GunGFuBanDa.
Wow, the Immortals, they just do not die. ForJumy, he smelled blood in the water, but it was his own blood here as everything just gets taken down. And then suddenly, the army, the game, has swung in favor of GunGFuBanDa once again.
A little bit of a desperation warp in here, but the pylon will be dealt with. GunGFuBanDa is continuing to push out. No.
Yeah, I feel like he's being a little bit too cautious here. Like, it's, to be fair, understandable. He doesn't have a way to reinforce across the map, and he doesn't have too many gateway units, so he doesn't feel it, even though ForJumy was quite exposed here. And he was being quite greedy as well, getting a 4th base.
Yeah, this is definitely fair from GunGFuBanDa, but I don't know, I'm just really surprised at how conservative he's been throughout this entire series. Maybe he knows how aggressive ForJumy can be and how ForJumy kind of has a tendency to push when he doesn't really need to. And maybe he's sort of banking on that, but there were definitely multiple moments where he could have pressed the advantage.
Yeah, meanwhile, instead, he's looking to try and pick apart the economy of ForJumy as these Phoenixes do dive into the main base. 8 probes finally go down. GunGFuBanDa now retaliating after losing all those probes earlier on to the DTs. He is now able to deal his own damage.
And just like that, he's ahead.
Just like that. Ay.
ForJumy's still trying to get something done with the DTs. It's going to be a little bit harder now that the cannon's up and running, but we saw how well he was able to dodge the cannons and just go straight for the mineral line. Gonna be a little bit tougher now, though, with the SimCity.
Yeah, maybe, like, he can find his way into the main base and maybe focus down a cannon or something. I'm not too sure. Oh, at least maybe even deny this 4th. There we go.
Yeah, it's definitely one way of coming back economically.
There we go, nicely done. The DTs are able to achieve something, but at the same time, the Adepts, sorry, the Phoenixes, they come back in, get 5 more kills, and oh, this turret base is looking a little bit exposed. Unfortunately, GunGFuBanDa doesn't have a lot of energy left on these Phoenixes.
Yeah, I saw that glint in his eye. He wanted to go for that third base, but didn't really have the energy for it.
Unfortunately, he did not.
We'll be able to scout a couple of Archons here, though I'm not sure if he has eyes on the main army of ForJumy, but once again, it's an area where I really think ForJumy doesn't have to push in, but he wants to.
Yeah, he did. He really shouldn't. He needs to calm down. Like, the Phoenixes, you could have argued maybe earlier, yo, they don't have enough energy to really come into play, but like, these Phoenixes add so much potential to this army to just pick up all the Immortals of ForJumy, and then suddenly he just got gateway units and a handful of Archons, and that is not going to be enough.
May even be able to lift up chargelets too if he was feeling especially spicy. Neat little run by from ForJumy. Actually bringing the army of GunGFuBanDa back, but a quick little warp in should be enough to deal with that. That and the Oracle as well. GunGFuBanDa is now making his move across the map. +2 finished up. His Warp Prism is coming into play.
And he is looking fine right now. ForJumy, he realizes the situation he's in. He's trying to throw down as much static defense as possible. We have 2 shield batteries, we have some cannons, we have overcharge. Oh my god, but he is being spread thin a little bit here, and I just don't know if he has enough to hold this frontal force.
Not if the Phoenixes are able to lift up enough units, especially those Immortals. Choke point will be widened here. That's just going to favor GunGFuBanDa even more.
God, that it is. They have a bit of a run by, but there's plenty here to defend for GunGFuBanDa. He's perfectly fine.
Oh,
even
the
harassing
pylon
at the same time. Yeah, pylon does go down, I guess.
Aw, not quick enough to stop that warp in though, and GunGFuBanDa, he's going straight for it! Lifts up every single Immortal and half of the Stalkers as well. The Archons really getting their volleys up on top of these Chargelots. Battery overcharge working overtime. But it is not going to be enough. GG, GunGFuBanDa takes that series 2-0.
Jesus.